3 days had passed since Dongwu's warning, and the galaxy was buzzing with nervous energy. On the Galactic Council station, emergency meetings happened around the clock. The aliens were trying to figure out what Earth could possibly do against their massive military forces. Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, Jin-Ho floated in the command center of his hidden base. The asteroid looked like any other piece of space rock from the outside, but inside it was a fortress. Hundreds of human ships were docked in secret bays carved deep into the asteroid's core. These ships had been built in complete secrecy over the past decade. "Status report," Jin-Ho said to his officers. "All ships are ready, Commander," replied his second-in-command. "The holographic projectors are working perfectly. When the alien scouts scan us, they see cargo vessels and mining ships." Jin-Ho nodded. The aliens had been watching Earth closely since the Council vote, but they were seeing exactly what humans wanted them to see. Every ship in Earth's secret fleet was disguised. Advanced holographic technology, stolen from the shape-shifting Vorthan Empire 5 years ago, made their warships look harmless. On Earth, Sujin sat in a dark room filled with computer screens. She was Earth's master spy, and her network stretched across the entire galaxy. For years, her agents had been gathering information while pretending to be servants, slaves, and prisoners on alien worlds. "The Galactic Council fleet is gathering at Proxima Station," she reported to her team. 12 different alien species, over 10,000 ships. The biggest military force in galactic history. Her assistant, a young woman named Bo-Ra, looked worried. "How can we fight so many ships?" Sujin smiled. "We don't fight them. We turn them against each other." She pulled up a holographic display showing the alien fleet's command structure. "Look here. Every ship in their fleet receives orders from one central command vessel. If we can capture that ship, we control their entire fleet." Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, Wusung was training the last group of volunteers. He had been a successful businessman before the alien crisis began, but now he was teaching ordinary people how to fight in space. His students were farmers, teachers, doctors, and store owners. None of them looked like soldiers, but they all had one thing in common. They refused to give up their home world. "Remember," Wusung told his class, "the aliens think humans are only good for physical work. They have never seen us fight with our minds. That is our biggest advantage." Above their heads, massive ships were leaving Earth's atmosphere. The alien spies watching from cloaked vessels reported exactly what the Galactic Council wanted to hear. Humanity was surrendering. Millions of humans were boarding evacuation ships and leaving their homeworld. But the aliens were seeing another lie. Those ships were not evacuation vessels. They were warships disguised as civilian transports. The real civilians were safe in underground cities that had been built in secret over the past 10 years. Earth's surface looked busy with evacuation activity, but it was all an act. The real magic was happening in Earth's computer networks. Every message the aliens intercepted was fake. Every transmission they recorded was part of the deception. Sujin's team had spent years learning how alien communication systems worked, and now they were feeding the enemy exactly the information they wanted them to believe. On the 4th day, the alien advanced scouts arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. They were fast ships with powerful sensors, sent to make sure humans were not planning any surprises. The scouts scanned everything they could find. They saw exactly what they expected to see. Earth looked defeated. Human ships were fleeing in all directions. The planet's defenses appeared to be shutting down. Mining operations in the asteroid belt seemed to be abandoned. Everything suggested that humanity had given up without a fight. The scouts never detected Jin-Ho's hidden fleet. The advanced cloaking technology made his ships invisible to alien sensors. The holographic projectors showed empty space where hundreds of human warships were actually waiting. "Perfect," Jin-Ho whispered as he watched the alien scouts leave. "They believe our story." But Sujin's greatest achievement was happening inside the alien fleet itself. Over the years, her agents had been placed throughout the galaxy as prisoners and slaves. The aliens never suspected that these humans were actually highly trained spies. They had learned alien languages, studied alien technology, and memorized the layouts of alien ships. Now those agents were being transferred to serve on the invasion fleet. The aliens thought they were bringing human slaves to help with the cleanup after Earth's surrender. In reality, they were bringing Earth's most dangerous weapons aboard their own ships. Agent Kyung-ho had been pretending to be a simple maintenance worker on an alien mining station for 3 years. Now he found himself assigned to the flagship of the Galactic Council fleet. The aliens saw him as harmless manual labor. They had no idea he was an expert in computer systems and explosives. Agent Mi-sun had spent 2 years pretending to be a cook on a Vorthan merchant vessel. Now she was preparing meals for the officers of an alien battleship. The aliens enjoyed human cooking and never suspected that their chef was actually a trained assassin. All across the invasion fleet, dozens of human agents were taking their positions. They carried no obvious weapons. Their tools looked like simple maintenance equipment. But each agent had memorized the weak points of alien technology. They knew exactly how to disable shields, weapons, and life support systems. On the 5th day, Dongwu sent another message to the Galactic Council. 2 days remain, he said simply. It is not too late to choose peace. The council leader responded with anger. Your pathetic threats mean nothing, human. Our fleet will arrive at your world in 2 days and you will surrender or be destroyed. But privately, many aliens were starting to worry. What if the humans really did have a plan? What if Earth was not as helpless as it appeared? Some of the smaller alien species began having secret meetings. They remembered what had happened to civilizations that had underestimated humanity before. The humans had a reputation for surviving impossible situations. Maybe this time was no different. On the 6th day, the main alien fleet began moving toward Earth. It was a sight that should have terrified any enemy. Thousands of massive warships from a dozen different species, armed with weapons that could destroy planets. They moved in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming power. Jin-ho watched them come on his secret screens. All units maintain position, he ordered. Let them get closer. The trap was almost ready. In less than 24 hours, the aliens would learn that humans had spent 10 years preparing for this exact moment. They would discover that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one who appears to have already lost. The 7th day arrived with the alien fleet at Earth's doorstep. Over 10,000 ships filled the space around Earth's moon, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. It was the largest military force the galaxy had ever assembled. The aliens were confident this would be the easiest conquest in their history. Admiral Zethkar of the Draconian Empire commanded the fleet from his massive flagship. His scales were bright gold, marking him as a warrior of the highest rank. He had conquered 17 worlds and never lost a battle. To him, humans were just another primitive species that needed to learn their place. Begin the final scan, he ordered his officers. I want to know the location of every human ship and weapon before we start. The alien scanners swept across Earth's solar system one more time. They found exactly what they had been seeing for days, a defeated world with scattered ships fleeing in panic. Earth's defenses appeared to be offline. The humans seemed to have given up completely. What the aliens could not see were the hundreds of weapons platforms hidden inside asteroids throughout the solar system. What they did not detect were Jin-ho's warships, still invisible behind their advanced cloaking systems. What they failed to notice were the human agents already aboard their own vessels, waiting for the signal to strike. On Earth's surface, Hana stood in the command center buried deep beneath the Himalayan mountains. Screens around her showed the positions of every alien ship. Her finger hovered over a single red button that would change the course of galactic history. All stations report ready, announced her communications officer. Hana took a deep breath. For Earth, she whispered, and pressed the button. Across the solar system, hidden weapons platforms that had been built into asteroids suddenly came alive. What the aliens had thought were harmless chunks of space rock revealed themselves to be massive cannons powered by fusion reactors. The first wave of energy beams struck the alien fleet before they could even raise their shields. Admiral Zethkar watched in shock as 3 of his escort ships simply vanished in balls of blue fire. "Shields up! Return fire!" he shouted, but his orders came too late. More weapons platforms revealed themselves hidden in Saturn's rings behind Jupiter's moons and scattered throughout the asteroid belt. The aliens found themselves surrounded by weapons they had never seen before. These were not simple plasma cannons or missile launchers. These were energy weapons based on technology stolen from the Lumina species, powered by human fusion reactors, and aimed with computer systems that had been studying alien ship movements for weeks. But the real shock came when the aliens tried to fight back. Their most powerful weapons, Cannons that could crack planets in half struck the human positions with devastating force. The energy beams should have destroyed anything they hit. Instead, the beams seemed to bend and twist around the human ships. The energy was absorbed by strange field generators that surrounded each vessel like a glowing bubble. The more the aliens fired, the stronger the human shields became. Kyung-soo, captain of the human flagship Sejong, smiled as he watched alien weapons bounce harmlessly off his shields. The adaptive energy fields had been developed by studying Lumina technology for 5 years. Every shot the aliens fired taught the shields how to defend against the next attack. Mi-young, what's their weak point? Kyung-soo asked his tactical officer. Mi-young had been studying alien battle formations for months. Their ships are designed to fight enemies who attack from one direction, she reported. They're not prepared for three-dimensional combat. Then let's show them how humans really fight. All ships attack pattern Delta. The human fleet suddenly appeared around the aliens like ghosts materializing from thin air. But these were not the cargo ships and transports the aliens had been tracking. These were warships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, their hulls covered in weapons that seemed to grow and shift as the battle progressed. The aliens had never faced technology that could adapt during a fight. Human ships changed their weapon types based on what shields they encountered. Human tactics shifted every few minutes as their computers analyzed alien responses. It was like fighting an enemy that learned and evolved in real time. Admiral Zethkar tried to organize a counterattack, but his fleet was already falling apart. Half his ships were gone, destroyed by weapons that seemed to anticipate their every move. The other half were scattered across the solar system, trying to escape the trap they had flown into. "This is impossible," he growled. "How can primitive humans have such advanced technology?" His question was answered when Captain Kyung-ho, who had been pretending to be a maintenance worker on the flagship, appeared on the bridge. The aliens had thought he was there to clean the floors. Instead, he had spent the last 2 days planting explosives throughout their most important ship. "You called us primitive," Kyung-ho said calmly as he held a detonator in his hand. "But you never bothered to learn who we really are. We are the species that survived by adapting. We are the people who learn from every enemy we face." Before the aliens could stop him, Kyung-ho pressed the detonator. Explosions ripped through the flagship from the inside, destroying the central command systems that controlled the entire fleet. Without their command ship, thousands of alien vessels found themselves cut off from their orders. Similar scenes were playing out across the fleet. Human agents who had been placed as servants and slaves were revealing their true nature. Agent Mi-sun, the cook, had poisoned the water systems on her battleship, putting the entire crew to sleep. Agent Dong-soo, a supposed cargo handler, had sabotaged the engine systems of a Vorthon dreadnought, leaving it floating helpless in space. The aliens began to realize they were not fighting a desperate primitive species. They were fighting an enemy that had been planning this battle for years. Every human they had captured, every prisoner they had taken, every servant they had used had been part of a massive intelligence operation. As the battle raged, more human ships appeared. Jinho's hidden fleet revealed itself in full force. Hundreds of vessels that had been built in secret and armed with the best technology Earth could develop. They moved with perfect coordination, their tactics based on 10 years of studying alien weaknesses. The tide of battle turned completely. What had started as an easy conquest for the aliens became a massacre. Human ships darted between the massive alien vessels like wolves hunting among cattle. Their weapons found every weak spot. Their shields deflected every counterattack. Admiral Zethkar, his flagship crippled and his fleet scattered, sent a desperate message across all frequencies. "What are you? How can humans possess such power?" Kyung-soo's response echoed through the communication systems of every surviving alien ship. "We are what you made us. You called us violent, so we learned to fight better than anyone in the galaxy. You called us primitive, so we stole your technology and improved it. We are the species that survives by becoming stronger than our enemies." As the 7th day ended, half the alien invasion fleet was destroyed. The other half was fleeing toward Mars, trying to regroup and understand what had gone wrong. For the first time in galactic history, a single world had defeated the combined might of the Galactic Council. But this was only the beginning. The aliens still had reinforcements coming, and Earth had shown its hand. The real war was about to start. The massive space station hung in the darkness like a glittering jewel. It was bigger than Earth's moon and home to millions of beings from across the galaxy. This was the Galactic Council Station, where the most powerful alien races made decisions that affected entire worlds. Dongwu walked through the long corridors, his boots clicking on the metal floor. He was the only human in sight. Tall aliens with blue skin stared at him with their 4 eyes. Small, furry creatures scurried past without looking up. Green beings with tentacles for arms whispered to each other as he passed. They all knew why he was here today. The main council chamber was enormous. Thousands of seats rose up in circles around a central platform. Representatives from hundreds of different alien species filled the seats. Some breathed air like humans, others lived in water tanks or energy fields. The noise was incredible as they all talked in their different languages. Dongwu took his place in the small human section. He was alone. Earth had only been allowed one representative at this meeting. The aliens had made sure of that. They wanted to show how little humans mattered in their grand galaxy. High above, on the most important platform, stood the council leader. It was a massive creature with gray skin and 6 arms. Its voice boomed through speakers that translated its words into every language in the galaxy. "We gather today for a simple vote," the leader announced. "The human species has become too dangerous. They fight too much. They cause too many problems. We must move them away from their homeworld before they hurt anyone else." Cheers erupted from the alien seats. Dongwu sat quietly and listened. He had expected this. A tall, thin alien with silver skin stood up. "The humans have started 3 wars in the last 50 years, it said. They cannot live peacefully with their neighbors. We should put them on mining worlds where they can work and stay out of trouble." More aliens stood to speak. Each one said the same thing. Humans were violent. Humans were primitive. Humans were dangerous to the peaceful galaxy. They all agreed that Earth should be taken away and humans should be scattered across distant mining colonies. Dongwu watched it all happen. On his wrist, a small device blinked quietly. It was receiving messages from Earth. Hana, Earth's defense minister, was watching this meeting through hidden cameras. So was Taemin, the scientist working on humanity's most secret project. Finally, the council leader called for the vote. All in favor of relocating the human species? Thousands of hands, claws, tentacles, and other appendages rose into the air. The count was overwhelming. Only a few dozen aliens voted against the proposal, and they did so quietly. "The motion passes," the leader declared. "Humans have 7 standard days to prepare for relocation. After that, our peacekeeping forces will help them move to their new homes." The chamber erupted in celebration. Aliens hugged each other with whatever limbs they had. They thought they had solved a major problem. That was when Dongwu stood up. The chamber slowly grew quiet. All eyes turned to the lone human standing in his small section. Dongwu was not a big man, but his voice carried clearly through the silence. "You have made a mistake," he said simply. The council leader's 6 arms waved dismissively. "Human, your species has been judged. The decision is final. You should be grateful we are allowing you to live at all." Dongwu nodded slowly. "You call us violent. You call us primitive. You say we start wars." He paused and looked around the massive chamber. "You are right about one thing. We do know how to fight." Nervous laughter rippled through some of the alien sections. They thought the human was trying to threaten them. How could one species fight against the entire galaxy? "But you have forgotten something important," Dongwu continued. "We learned to fight because we had to survive. We learned to fight because stronger enemies always tried to destroy us, and every time they tried, we found a way to win." The laughter stopped. The chamber was completely silent now. Dongwu reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple communication unit, but the alien security scanners began beeping frantically. Whatever was in that device was not what it appeared to be. "You have 7 standard days to change your minds," Dongwu said. His voice was calm, but there was something in it that made even the largest aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. 7 days to remember that humans have survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and every disaster you can imagine. 7 days to ask yourselves why a species like that would come to this meeting without a plan. The council leader's gray skin had turned pale. "Are you threatening the Galactic Council, human?" Dongwu smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "No, I am giving you a warning. In 7 days, if you do not change your vote, Earth will show you exactly why we earned our reputation as survivors. We will demonstrate what happens when you corner the most adaptable species in the galaxy. He pressed a button on his device. Somewhere far away, Hana received the signal. Protocol Teguk was now active. The machines began humming. The hidden ships started moving. The weapons that nobody knew about were being powered up. Dongwu put his device away and began walking toward the exit. The thousands of aliens watched him go in complete silence. His footsteps echoed through the chamber like a countdown. At the doorway, he turned back one last time. 7 days, he said. Use them wisely. As the human left, panic began to spread through the chamber. Aliens who had been celebrating moments before were now whispering urgently to each other. What did the human know? What was Earth planning? High above Earth's surface on the hidden Luna base, Hana smiled as she watched her screens come alive with activity. The trap was set. The countdown had begun. The aliens thought they were dealing with primitive warriors. They were about to learn they were facing something much more dangerous. Humans who had been preparing for this moment for 10 years. News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, alien leaders watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. The species they had dismissed as primitive had just defeated the largest military force in galactic history. Some alien races began to question their loyalty to the Galactic Council. On the water world of Aquarius Prime, the fish-like hydrant people held emergency meetings in their underwater cities. For centuries, they had followed council orders without question. Now they wondered if they had chosen the wrong side. Xiong Huan, Earth's new ambassador to the neutral species, arrived at Aquarius Prime in a small human ship. The Hydrons had agreed to meet with him secretly, curious about the species that had shocked the galaxy. We did not know humans were so powerful, said Elder Coral Finn, the Hydron leader. Her gills fluttered nervously as she spoke. The council told us you were dangerous only because you fought among yourselves. Xionghuan nodded calmly. We do fight among ourselves sometimes, but when someone threatens our home, we fight together. That is what makes us strong. Similar conversations were happening across the galaxy. The tree-like Verdians, who had remained neutral for thousands of years, were quietly sending messages to Earth. The crystal beings of Shard World were recalculating their alliance options. Even some species within the Galactic Council were beginning to have secret doubts, but the council leaders were not ready to give up. In an emergency session, they voted to triple their military forces. Ships from every corner of the galaxy began moving toward Earth. Planet-killer weapons that had not been used for centuries were brought out of storage. Meanwhile, on Earth, Yujin worked frantically in her laboratory deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. She was humanity's leading expert in nanotechnology, and she had just completed Earth's most dangerous weapon. Her nanobots were microscopic machines that could take apart any matter they touched, molecule by molecule. Are you sure about this? Asked her assistant, looking worried at the container of gray powder on the table. If these nanobots get out of control, Yujin smiled grimly. They won't. I've programmed them to only affect non-human technology. Every human device has a special signal that tells the nanobots to leave it alone. But alien ships, alien weapons, alien computers, the nanobots will dismantle all of it. The test came sooner than expected. 3 days after the first battle, alien reinforcement fleets began arriving at Mars. The survivors of the original invasion had been joined by fresh forces from 12 more species. The combined fleet now numbered over 30,000 ships. Admiral Zethkar, his pride wounded by his earlier defeat, commanded the new fleet from a replacement flagship. This time he was taking no chances. His ships carried the most powerful weapons in the galactic arsenal, including 3 planet killers that could crack worlds in half. We underestimated them before, he announced to his officers. This time we will use overwhelming force. If we cannot capture their world, we will destroy it. But as the alien fleet organized itself around Mars, something unexpected began happening. Ships started reporting system failures. Communications went dead. Weapons stopped working. Life support systems shut down randomly. The nanobots had been released into space 3 days earlier. They were invisible to alien sensors and moved through space like a cloud of destruction. Any alien technology they touched simply stopped working, as the microscopic machines took it apart piece by piece. The beautiful part of Yujin's design was that the nanobots looked like space dust to alien scanners. By the time the aliens realized they were under attack, the nanobots had already infected half their fleet. Sir, "We're losing ships faster than we can count them," reported Admiral Zethkar's tactical officer. "It's like some kind of technological plague." The Admiral watched in horror as his mighty dreadnoughts simply went dark, their crews trapped inside ships that no longer functioned. The planet killers, the most feared weapons in the galaxy, became floating metal coffins as their power systems dissolved at the molecular level. But Earth's second trap was even more devastating. Hidden among the alien fleet were the sleeper agents that Sujin had been placing for years. Humans who had pretended to be prisoners and slaves were now revealing their true nature. Agent Tae-ho had spent 3 years working as a mechanic on a draconian battle cruiser. The aliens thought he was fixing their engines. In reality, he had been installing hidden programs in their computer systems, programs that activated when Earth sent a special signal. Now those programs came alive. Across the alien fleet, ships began turning their weapons on each other. Navigation systems sent vessels crashing into their allies. Communications arrays broadcasted false orders that caused chaos throughout the formation. The aliens found themselves fighting a 3-way battle against Earth's visible fleet, against the invisible nanobots that were destroying their technology, and against their own ships that had been turned into weapons against them. In the middle of this chaos, Jae-sung led Earth's newest fleet toward the battle. These were not the hidden ships that had won the first battle. These were vessels built openly on Earth, using technology that humanity no longer needed to hide. But Jae-sung was not leading only human ships. Flying alongside Earth's fleet were vessels from 6 alien species that had decided to switch sides. The Hydrans had sent their underwater fighters. The Verdians had contributed their living ships that could repair themselves in battle. The crystal beings of Shard World had provided vessels that could phase in and out of normal space. "All allied ships, this is Commander Jae-sung," he announced on the open communication channels. "Today we fight not for conquest but for freedom. Today we show the galaxy that the age of the Galactic Council is over." The combined fleet struck the confused alien forces like a hammer. Earth's human ships used their adaptive technology to stay one step ahead of alien weapons. Their new allies provided capabilities that the aliens had never seen used against them. The Hydran ships could function perfectly in the radiation fields around Jupiter, giving them an advantage in close combat. The Verdian vessels could grow new weapons during the battle, adapting to whatever threats they faced. The crystal ships could attack from parallel dimensions, striking targets that thought they were safely hidden. Admiral Zethkar, his second flagship failing around him as nanobots ate through its hull, sent a final desperate message to the Galactic Council. "Send everything. Send every ship we have. The humans are not fighting alone anymore, but it was too late. The battle around Mars was already over. The alien reinforcement fleet, 3 times larger than the original invasion force, had been scattered and destroyed. Half the ships were dead in space, their technology consumed by nanobots. The other half had been captured or converted by human programming." As the smoke cleared, Jae-sung looked at the readings on his screens. They had not just won another battle, they had crippled the Council's ability to wage war anywhere in the galaxy. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving surrender requests from over 2,000 alien vessels. They want to join our side." Jae-sung smiled. The revolution was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Species that had been oppressed by the Council for centuries were seeing their chance for freedom. But the real test was still to come. The Galactic Council's home station was the center of their power, defended by the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. If Earth wanted to truly change the balance of power, they would have to strike at the heart of the Council itself. The final battle was approaching, and it would determine not just Earth's future, but the future of every species in the galaxy. The Galactic Council station had never seen anything like this. For 10,000 years it had been the symbol of order in the galaxy. Now it was surrounded by the largest rebel fleet in galactic history. Ho-seok commanded the human forces from his flagship, watching as ships from dozens of species took positions around the massive station. What had started as Earth's desperate fight for survival had become a revolution that shook the foundations of galactic civilization. "Status report," Ho-seok ordered. "We have ships from 37 different species," his tactical officer reported. "The Hydrans brought their entire deep space fleet. The Verdians are sending living ships that can repair our damaged vessels. Even some Council species are switching sides." Inside the station, chaos was spreading. Yunji, who had spent 2 years pretending to be a prisoner in the station's lower levels, was now leading an uprising. The aliens had kept thousands of slaves and prisoners from conquered worlds. They never imagined these oppressed beings would organize themselves into an army. Section C is secure, Yunji reported through her hidden communicator. We've taken control of the life support systems for levels 50 through 70. The council guards are falling back to the upper sections. The station's defenders were facing attacks from both outside and inside. Hoseok's fleet was battering the external shields while Yunji's rebels were sabotaging critical systems from within. But the council leaders had one final desperate plan. In the deepest part of the station, ancient weapons were being activated. If they could not win this battle, they would destroy everything rather than surrender. Council leader Vorthak, the massive gray-skinned being who had dismissed Dongwu's warning weeks ago, stood before the station's core reactor. His 6 arms worked frantically at the control panel, entering codes that had not been used for thousands of years. If we cannot rule the galaxy, he growled, then no one will. The station's destruction will create a black hole that consumes this entire system. His fellow council members watched nervously. Are you sure about this? Asked the silver-skinned Altarian representative. The black hole could destroy our homeworlds too. Better that than living under human rule, Vorthak replied. On Earth, Changmin received reports of the council's plan from Yunji's team inside the station. As Earth's new prime minister, he had been coordinating the political side of the war while the military fought the battles. They're going to destroy the station? Changmin asked, his face pale. Yes, sir. Our agents inside report they're activating a self-destruct system that will collapse the station's core into a black hole. It will destroy everything within 10 light years. Changmin made the hardest decision of his life. He opened a direct communication channel to the council station, broadcasting to both the defenders and the attackers. This is Prime Minister Changmin of Earth, he announced. We know about your self-destruct system. We are prepared to offer complete amnesty to all council members in exchange for stopping the countdown. Hoseok's officers looked shocked. Sir, after everything they've done to us? Changmin's voice was firm. We are not fighting this war for revenge. We are fighting for the right to choose our own future. If we become conquerors ourselves, we are no better than them. The offer sent shockwaves through both fleets. Many of the alien species fighting alongside Earth had suffered under council rule for centuries. They wanted justice, not mercy. But council leader Vorthak rejected the offer immediately. We will not bow to primitive humans, he snarled. The countdown continues. That was when Hoseok played humanity's final card. All ships activate phase walk technology. Prepare for dimensional shift. The aliens had never seen anything like what happened next. The entire human fleet, along with their allied ships, began to flicker and fade. They were shifting into parallel dimensions, using technology that humanity had stolen from the mysterious phase walkers years ago. The phase walkers were beings that existed between dimensions, appearing in normal space only rarely. But human scientists had studied their technology and learned to duplicate it. Now Earth's ships could survive in the spaces between realities. As the station's core began to collapse, creating the beginnings of a black hole, Hoseok's fleet simply stepped sideways into another dimension. They watched from safety as the council station tore itself apart, the artificial black hole consuming everything within millions of kilometers. But the humans were not finished. As the black hole stabilized, Hoseok's ships returned to normal space. They had survived something that should have destroyed them, proving once again that humanity could adapt to any threat. This is Admiral Hoseok of the Earth Defense Force. He broadcast across all galactic frequencies. The Galactic Council is ended. We offer a new choice to every species in the galaxy. Join us in building something better or go your own way in peace. But the age of species-based oppression is over. In the weeks that followed, representatives from hundreds of worlds came to Earth to negotiate the new galactic order. Changmin worked tirelessly to create something the galaxy had never seen, a government based on equality rather than domination. The former council species were not punished or enslaved. Instead, they were offered full membership in the new Galactic Federation. Some refused and withdrew to their home worlds. Others, tired of constant warfare, accepted the chance to start over. The Draconian Empire, led by the humbled Admiral Zethkar, became one of Earth's strongest allies. The proud warrior species had learned to respect humanity's fighting ability. and they admired the way humans had shown mercy to their defeated enemies. "You could have destroyed us all," Zethkar said during the treaty negotiations. "Instead, you offered us partnership. This is not the way of conquerors. This is the way of true leaders." The new government was unlike anything the galaxy had known. Instead of ruling species, there were governing principles: freedom, equality, and the right of every world to choose its own path. The military forces of the Federation were commanded by humans, not because they sought power, but because they had proven they would fight to protect others rather than oppress them. A year after the war ended, Dongwu stood before the first General Assembly of the new Galactic Federation. The same chamber where he had once delivered his warning to the Council now hosted representatives from over 1,000 worlds, all working together as equals. "You called our ferocity a weakness," he said, addressing the assembled beings. "You thought it made us monsters who could only destroy. Today you have learned the truth. Our ferocity makes us guardians. We fight hardest not when we seek to conquer, but when we defend those who cannot defend themselves." The applause came from beings with claws, tentacles, fins, and energy fields. Species that had been enemies for millennia were now working side by side, united by the simple idea that all intelligent life deserved freedom. As the session ended, Dongwu looked out through the great windows at the space around the new Federation station. Human ships patrolled alongside vessels from dozens of alien species, all wearing the same insignia, a blue planet surrounded by stars, representing the world that had taught the galaxy that strength without mercy was tyranny, but strength with mercy was true power. The ferocious counterattack that had started as Earth's desperate fight for survival had become something greater. The foundation of a new age where no species would ever again face the choice between conquest and extinction. The galaxy had learned that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one who fights not for domination, but for the right of everyone to be free.